in the top left-hand side. The Red Protoss player representing Twisted Minds here as we enter the first match of today's ESL Open Cup career number 222. Yes, it's been that many of them. It is Classic in the top left corner of the map. Meanwhile, in the bottom right, we've got ourselves the blue Zerg player, legendary returning player. It is Rogue. Again, we saw him for the first time back in an ESL Open Cup last week. He played against Nightmare, and it wasn't the greatest, but honestly, it was not bad either for the fact that he's just returned from military service. And I feel like for the foreseeable future, Rogue is going to be our opening match of the day in these ESL Open Cups because he's not going to have a good seed. So because he doesn't have a good seed, he ends up playing against someone really good, and that's because he hasn't got any points because of, having been in the military. So because of that, he's not going to be playing against anyone particularly kind of amazing. And he's always going to be playing against someone pretty amazing in the first round because he has no seed. Everyone else does have a seed. So it's pretty much always going to be the case of it's going to be worth watching Rogue for the next few weeks. So we'll get to see his progress. I'm assuming he keeps on playing and participating, obviously. I guess that part kind of is the assumption. So yeah, that's why we're here with him today. Last week we watched Nightmare beat him, and it was actually a very cool follow-up from Nightmare. He went on quite the run throughout the competition, so that was very cool to see. Obviously hoping for something similarly fun this time around as well. To get all settled, get ready to rumble. First Overlord is making its way out to the upper left-hand side, so that's already on just a little bit of a journey here. We got a drone over here, just gonna get repositioned as we do have a little bit of probe nibbling happening as well, so nothing too crazy in terms of all that. As you see the Cybercore and the Nexus coming up as well, all of that continuing through. Just have ourselves a couple more Queens, a few more Zerglings, everything being built. And a peaceful early game, so very exciting stuff. As I say, if you are a Rogue fan, just to get to see him again is already something pretty awesome, right? So, big fan of that. Feeling's just going to chase down this probe. Nothing overly crazy or weird about that, obviously. Just going to get that probe. A move and wants to just keep on scouting. There is a third hatchery already coming down here from Rogue as well, so that is getting established rather fine also. No issues just yet, as our feelings will just turn back and pick away at these rocks. It's a Stargate opener, so the opening is really nothing too unexpected for these early stages. And we just have ourselves this probe going to pull back into the natural as well, so just going to pull across over here. And for the moment, looks as though we are going to be good. So, again, nothing else too crazy going on for the next couple of moments. Of course, just waiting for this Oracle to pop up. And once we get that Oracle out, we'll have a little bit more of a look to see just what exactly is going to start going on and all of that good stuff. So, feelings moving around as well. Just going to be seeing them moving up to the top. Obviously, with speed, you have a bit more map control with this. Currently an Overlord getting pushed back. I don't think those Lings will ever deny this Overlord from being killed, because there's an Oracle here as well, so there would be no reason for that Stalker to pull away and be like, oh no, or anything along those lines, and hence nothing ends up happening. Let's just have the Ling going to move back around in the main base a little bit. The Oracle pops out at the Stargate as well, so we get that out immediately. Adept goes through, picks off a Ling, and we have this other Adept moving out down to the natural as well. Second gateway going to come up at the front, so that's going to create the wall off here. And the Stalker and the Adept just going to pass each other by as we get the third Nexus on the way. A couple more Adepts continuing to be built, and the Oracle's still lingering down on the bottom side of the map, waiting for a chance to strike onto that third base. Couple of Lings going down. Drones. I think I picked off as well. 5, 6, 7 workers getting knocked away at there. So it's, again, pretty decent work. This is actually a really good start for Classic. 7 workers, 440 in the game. It's just early enough that this is significant, basically, so that's going to be a big part of that so far. Those Oracle's still chilling. The Adepts threaten, but they don't even necessarily need to do anything right now based on what we've just seen there. So these Adepts are just chilling right here. They're going to move back across, going to get rid of a Creep Tumor. They just don't need a hard commit into a mineral line. Maybe there would have been an opportunity there, but I think the Lings would have caught up with them. So, yeah, nothing to really kind of go out and take advantage of just yet. As you do see, this Oracle of Classic is going to go moving back to the upper left. So just going to get one Oracle back defensively just in case the Ling run by. If we get another Creep Tumor, we're going to go to this side with the Shade and get these Creep Tumors, which is just beautiful. Really nicely played by Classic again. Utilizing these Adepts in a great way. Denying creep with them is a fantastic way to utilize Adepts in this early stage of PvZ. It's exactly what you want to be doing. You're denying map control. You're making it difficult for the Zerg to do anything. Their queens are constantly busy respreading that creep. We're just going to get this tumor back up over here, but we might just Revelate it once again. He knows it's there. Not going to be the case just yet. As I thought I saw a dot of red over here. Maybe just is there a center on the map? No, I don't know what. I mean, I'm clearly seeing things apparently. All right, well, I fear Adepts will continue by. They're going to threaten the Shade into the natural as the Queens do push back Adepts and Oracles from the front line. So they get pushed back in towards the center just a little bit here. As they get pushed back in towards the center, the other Adepts continue to move through for just a little bit. Queens are going to be set there. Lings are moving through. The Adepts continue to get chased around. You have the Hydra Den already coming up as well as just getting that started as the Queens and the Lings will play cleanup, but only after losing 4 more drones. And it could have been more. This Adept didn't target fire so many shots on a Queen. That could have very easily been some more drone deaths. So, yeah, Classic definitely in control here. Early applying the pressure. Rogue struggling to just have a neat defense. As he moves into Hydra production, he's going to be moving into the Infestation Pit, +1 missiles, Guru Spines, and that Roach Speed is all being brought to play. So again, all of that up and running as the rest of these Stalkers continue to come about. With this Stalker-Oracle combination, we are going to begin to move out down to the bottom right side of the map. Well, Oracle's going to pop the Revelation. We are going to get rid of a couple more Creep Tumors. Like I said, can damage. The Hydras will be chased a little bit now as well. Our Queens also going to try and push back through. The Oracles nearby as just have the Roaches, Hydras, Lings all coming up, +1 missiles still coming through as well. Charge and everything else still coming by, and the Stalker's going to push up this ramp. Queen very nearly goes down, not quite though. The Lings running through, the Roaches are getting picked away at. The Hydra's coming by also. Again, that is just going to be a pushback down this ramp. Stalker, Oracle getting shoved away. Queen back over to the right side. Just going to see another Queen getting picked off. The other few Lings are coming through. Stalker and Oracle's back down into the centers. As you see, Ling Hydra still setting up over on the right-hand side of this here. We get rid of a couple of Lings. Hydra's now taking some damage as well. We finish up those stasis wards. Just going to get those completed straight away. And Stalkers, Oracles gathering here. As you do see the Lings looking to run down this ramp. The Hydras are there as well. We get rid of a few more Lings. So again, pretty decently done in that regard. The Lurker Den coming up. The Hive is continuing through. I'm just going to be seeing Ling Hydra on the right-hand side wanting to come for a push. And as obviously we're just trying to keep these Stalkers back, trying to trade effectively where we can. But the problem is trading effectively versus Blink is very difficult to do because you're pretty much always in this situation where you have to kind of, deal damage to units that are then going to get away, and then they're never going to stay in range long enough to actually go down. As our Hydras and our Lings continue to move out down to the bottom. So Spines is coming up as well. And you just have a little Revelation going down one more time. Well, the Lurkers are burrowed, Stalkers and the Zards back it up. The Oracles are going to go back around into the center. And again, just Templar Archives coming through, the extra gates coming in. Going to have Stalkers still around the right side, just going to push the Ling Hydra back. A couple Lurkers coming through. Revelation goes down, and again, we look towards this ramp a little bit. Queen starts to move down, it decides to back it up. Stalkers are going to come in, going to aim for this hatchery. Lings are going to run through. Hatch will unfortunately fall as now the Stalkers continue to pull back. These Lings continue to peel away as well. We got Adrenal Glands coming through, +2 missiles. Ling Hydra coming up. Nidus Network is producing as well. So just a little bit of everything realistically on the way right now as we do finish off these rocks, opening up this bit of space. And again, Adrenal Glands is not far from being wrapped up with that size. Adaptive Talons on the way. I had to double check it for a second, don't know why. Things get pushed back. Lots of units on the right side. Again, Robo Facility Storm. All that good stuff coming through as Rogue tries to run by to the left. I think this is where Rogue has been very good when we saw him last week against Nightmare. When he got the chance to kind of play all over and play a little bit scrappy. As that Stalker comes back over, a few more Stalkers in the Oracle on the right side. Prism continues through. Prism goes all the way to the right. Ling's going to come in again, just going to go after this Pylon. Pylon going to get nibbled. Cannons firing. Lings are going to get jumped on as Zealot Stalker continues across. And Zealots continue to chase through. I mean, it's nice though, right? You're making the right moves. You're going to get Nidus up. This is exactly where Rogue is going to be, like I say, kind of in his best comfort zone. He's good at playing scrappy, crazier games, and that's exactly what this is now turned into. Lurk is already in position here. Knight is going to be accessible in the main. We're going to come forwards and fight on the other side of the map as Classic. I'm not sure I love that. I mean, there's going to be more Lurkers burrowing up. The Oracles need to revelate, but it's way too late for that. Lurkers here. Ah, Rogue, pay attention, burrow them. Bro, you could have done so much here. These Zealots were super choked up. I mean, the Nidus is still there in the main, by the way, so if we have any reinforcements to pop out into the main, that would be beautiful too. As these Lurkers go down, I mean, Classic was just in such a good position before this that that's going to give him a much better position here than maybe it should really be. As the Oracles are going to activate, there's only a single Queen for Anti. I don't think that's going to get the job done, so these Lurkers may have to make an evacuation, although here we go, more Queens, more Hydras. Lings and Lurkers and all sorts. The Sim City is going to make it brutal for Classic to try and deal with this. At the same time now, Lings on the left-hand side, and Rogue is all over the map as he is just going to try and make this so chaotic for Classic. Classic has money to spend, but what does he spend it on? Everything he's building as quick reinforcements is not working out. Now he's losing pylons. He's going to lose production. I think Classic's let this slip. The Lurkers getting out in the natural, then in the main base is just way too much. Hydras and Lurkers still gonna go fighting through. I think this is actually it from Rogue. I think he's done it, guys. He just needs a defense at home. He does have a few Lurkers coming back from the Nidus now, doubling the army supply, and it looks as though Rogue is gonna make it happen. The early game wasn't clean. He's just gonna see Zealot Stalker just chilling out. The Ling Hydra's still gonna push things around. But the Hydra's still coming through. The Ling's gonna go in after a pylon. That is it. That's GG's. Rogue is gonna take the first game off of Classic. After it was honestly a pretty brutal game for him. It was not going well, but then the red Protoss player, it is Classic. Taking on in the bottom left, the blue Zerg, who's up 1-0. It's Rogue. Couple drones coming about, and Gateway coming on. It's going to be seeing the probe coming through. So hopefully he gets me wrong. We'll be moving to the upper right. I'm just going to be having, again, fairly early game. Kind of chill as I get all settled down. Just a peek to see what's going to happen. Rogue taking the first game. Love that. I love it, but I hate it. You know why I hate it? Because you know that just means Protoss is still underpowered, guys. The Protoss is still just so underpowered. Like, how Protoss ever going to win anything? OV is just going to come. Head into the upper right-hand side. It's just going to move across there. Next to Cybercore on the way in. Pylon and Simulator all coming about as well. So we get all of this brought up and rumbling. And like I say, waiting for this Cybercore to come online. That likely leads us to the Stargate, which is where Classic likes to play off of. And to be fair, Classic did nothing wrong for the first 5 minutes of that last game. The last game was absolutely fine. He just needs to not let Rogue get Niduses up freely in the natural and main base, especially in such choked up areas, because he saw just how effective those Lurkers were in those positions. It was absolutely brutal. How long since Rogue returned? It's been about a week. First game he played back was this time last week in the ESL Open Cup career. I'm not actually sure if he's been playing stuff since then. I was gone for a lot of last week, so I didn't see a lot of the other bits and pieces, but I'm just going to double check, see if he played in anything else this week. What you played in Rogue? He played against Oliveira in a show match. He took a map. Yeah, I actually remember seeing that on the board somewhere. Cool. Yeah, cool to see him back, man. Be interesting to see how much he plays, how much he tries to get back to the top. Especially as we're, pending the loss of Dark. We're expecting Dark to be gone very soon. Dark, who had a baby this week. That popped out of nowhere. So Dark is now a father. Announced on Twitter. His little Zergling. Incredible. This man can't even stop StarCraft outside of the game. As a second gateway is on the way here from Classic. The Stargate is up. The Oracle is on the way. Just going to provide high ground vision and knock this first Overlord down. The very typical first few moments are very much so in play here. Nothing is coming as a surprise right now. Everything is very much so as it's meant to be. As this Stalker continues over, just going to go and try and pick off this Overlord. So Ovi taking some damage. A few links slip in. That's neat because you're going to get to see just a little bit more info. You see a third Oracle, for example, right? Or is that just the second Oracle? Still second Oracle. Okay, you guys see the second Oracle. I mean, I guess that's still some info. I mean, it's just good to see that this is nothing crazy, right? You're just going to see, cool, nothing wild. You're not pulling out a gas, which could be a thing, right? You pull out a gas, you go like Mass Zealots, although I guess you need a Twilight Council for that too. No, I don't know. When there's only standard things to see, maybe you could go like one Oracle into Twilight and try and go very quick tech after, right? So either way, it's good to just get that little bit of a confirmation. It may not be the biggest thing in the world because 9 times out of 10 you're going to get this expected triple Oracle play. But hey, for one time in 100 maybe, it's something different. Why not get in and get that scout if you can? Well, Adepts continue to come across. We're going to see this setup again where it's just the combination of Oracle damage and Adepts trying to find something. Looks as though the Adepts are going to get into this mineral line. They're going to cancel the Shade. The Oracles took a bit of split damage. If this was target fired, maybe this would have actually been okay for a bit of a cleanup. I don't think the Oracles can protect the Adepts super well here as we nearly lose one of them. Now an Adept goes down. This other Adept is going to Shade back, so that's 2 Adepts down. One Oracle that's very hurt as well. Very, very cool as a couple Oracles continue to move back out across to the other side. Well, the Oracles will just fall back. Yeah, much better for Rogue. I mean, last time at 440 he lost 7 drones. This time he lost 3 drones, and he got rid of some of the Adepts much sooner. So those Adepts that were so controlling, remember he had no creep spread on the map. He was able to basically just sit there and say, cool, there's no creep spread on the map. Classic felt so safe in that regard. This time there's going to be creep. This time Rogue is just going to be in a much better position, so that's going to be way more comfortable. As a single link chills out on the gold mineral line. Still got an Oracle setting up over on the far left. A 4th hatchery goes down. And this Oracle also looking for a way through. Just trying to figure out what's going on. So we get rid of that Oracle. That's not great for Classic. Again, just kind of a donation into the Spore. Not what you want to see if you're kind of believing in Classic to be one of these Protoss hopes. A little sloppy here. It started so well in Game 1. I wonder if it's kind of like he's a little shaken up right now with how this Game 2 has started going. It's getting a little nasty, isn't it? It's getting a little bit mean. That's an Oracle. Chilling out overhead. It's going to be activating, going after a few Lings. That's a good cleanup for Classic, of course, because those Lings really did not have any reason to stick around there. They could have ran. They could have been gone. Again, Stargate in the second Stargate and the Fleet Beacon coming up, so Classic's just very quick to move into the air toss. Really wants to make this a situation where he has that access pretty much ready to go. There's a few probes just transfer across, and Temple Archives already comes in from Classic as well, so we continue that tech route. Rogue, Infestation Pit Spire, he's obviously not being slowed by teching himself. He's very comfortable moving forwards here so far. We also see the Hive coming up on the main base as the Oracle drops by, hits a little Revelation on these Queens. Another Extractor or 2, just going to get settled as the Lurker Den continues to build. So we continue to get that Lurker Den out, the Hydras, the drones, and the Hive all coming through. Colossi, Stalkers gathering up as well, and this Overseer just going to come back through into the main base. A couple Stalkers are sat, and it's going to be firing away. It's going to work on this Overseer, which is not going to last very long, but we get the scout of the carriers, so we know the move, and now Rogue can look to prepare against that move. Knowing that it's carriers so soon, how heavily does he rely on the Lurkers this time? Is he going to go into Corruptor straight away? Well, against Colossus carrier, yeah, you probably do want to build a bunch of Corruptors pretty darn early on here. Corruptors coming up. The Hive is about to be done. Still got that Lurker Den coming about as well. And yeah, a few cannons continue to get produced as a couple of OVs from Rogue go out over to the right-hand side. I was going to spread a little bit with that creep about, so creep up a couple different areas. Immortals on the way from Classic as well, so yeah, I mean, obviously doing things which makes sense. More Colossi when you're already kind of building into things that encourage Corruptors probably doesn't make sense. So just going to get his ground army buffed up in a different kind of manner. As the Colossi get a couple shots off. Obviously very safe setup here on our side. He's set up across 4 bases. We're not going anywhere in that regard. We are set up for the foreseeable future. There's the next question is kind of base 5, but typically you just kind of take this base here, right? You take this gold. Take that forward location is a good way to go about it. A storm +2, weapons coming up. A couple more models on the way out. The extra gates are coming through as well. Cannon production continues also as we do move over to the left-hand side. And it's going to grab another Ling. And just going to take down one more Ling on the left. Push those Overlords away as well. Well, Classic comes in, a couple of laser beams are going to fire it up. Lings are going down already. There is a 5th Nexus dropping down on the upper side of things. We've got ourselves the carriers coming back through. Immortal Stalkers, High Templars all coming about here. The Corruptors also just going to start flying in, and there's going to be one carrier going down immediately. Rogue just sends it. He says, well, where's your anti-air, bro? He kills 2 carriers. Finally, Storms come out, but he's still going to say, well, where's the anti-air? A set of Stalkers warping in, plus those Storms is enough to turn it around, but my goodness, 2 carriers gone? Basically cost Rogue nothing. Couple of Corruptors fell. I mean, how many did he actually lose? Okay, he lost 6 Corruptors. That's more than I really thought he did. I guess towards the tail end there, the Storm was supposed to Stalkers showing up really was the reason he turned around. But still, to already knock the carrier count down to stop it from reaching just kind of certain mass, I think that's a pretty darn big deal in itself. As you see, Ling, Lurker, Hydra just going to pick through the rocks on the bottom right. Just going to work our way through there. Extra spines coming through, the extra Lurkers on the way, Adaptive Talons building on the Lurker Den. We have got everything here from Classic moving into the center of the map. So on we go, a couple creep tumors already being knocked away at. All this creep gets picked. As we see the couple of extra creep on the right side potentially going to get knocked down as well. So we knock all of this over in that direction. Still got a few Zealots coming through, plus 2 air weapons coming on the Cybercore. And it's Lings to get a cheeky little wrap around here on this Nexus, so we are going to grab that. We are going to wrap around these Zealots as well. And we're going to play the cleanup game. And everything continues by. All the rest of the Lings going down. The Corruptor's going to die for Colossus. We just get it, but we do eat the full storm as everything was stacked there. So, unfortunately, that part of this was a little bit painful. Still got our carriers, and our Zealots continue to come about. Zealots continue to come over. Plus 2 air weapons on the way. Plus 3 ground attack coming up. The rest of these Corruptors come through, and again, Titan's Plane is there, the melee upgrade, and the plus 2 carapace is there. And these few Zealots would love to just make their way around. Let's charge in, but there's nothing there, there's just a defense, so that's going to be a good hold from Rogue. No damage taken on that one, that's obviously a big plus. Keeps you in a nice safe spot, keeps this game in a very playable spot as well. He kind of ran forward there. I kind of thought he might get one carry before he backed away, but he was truly just surprised about the situation. Rogue was not ready for the units to actually be there, otherwise he might have had a carrier. And these Corruptors want to be careful. You don't want to donate them all too easily. He's obviously taking a lot of the map. The Lurker Den is coming up as well, so we're going to have access... sorry, not the Lurker Den, but more Lurkers are coming out of that Lurker Den. So we're having access to just plenty of Lurkers around the map. The static defense is coming online, and we're just going to go deeper into this game. We're going to see how Rogue's later game control is going to be looking. We knock down a couple of these creep tumors once more, so they get taken out. Continue to set up in the center as 10 more spores come online. The Lurkers are still producing through. And we actually go back northern side now from Classic as well. We're just continuing to move on by. Just going to be seeing a little storm come up. The Lurk is going to sit tight. Isn't armor better for Corruptors versus air? Well, against carriers specifically, probably yes, but the carriers aren't usually the thing that really cleans up all the Corruptors. It's stuff like the Stalkers and the Archon Splash, and so that doesn't really matter for Carapace. Generally, what you want is these Corruptors to be able to one-shot the carriers for as long as possible, and the attack upgrade achieves that. If the Corruptors can move in and guarantee the one-shot, brilliant. If you lose a couple Corruptors, you can still move in and one-shot again. That's much better to you than being able to keep like one extra Corruptor alive. The ability to actually kill these carriers quickly and effectively is really huge, and that's why the attack upgrade is generally preferred over the Carapace if you're going to go for one or the other. And I think it's just, again, you expect these the majority of damage from on the Corruptors to be Archon or High Templar related, at least the majority of damage, so I think it's just a case of what you expect to be the problem. As the Mothership comes up, +3 air weapons building on the Cyber Core. Stalkers and a Colossus move over to the left-hand side. They're going to knock down an Overlord there as well. It's just going to take that out. Lurkers on the high ground. Going to push these couple Stalkers around. We are going to get some shots off. And that's just going to go after this Extractor. Just trying to pick away from the low ground there. Trying to get something done. The Interceptor's firing through. This set of rocks goes down. We clean up on that one as a couple more Vipers and things. The spores all come through. And this army of Classic continues to move to the bottom side, so it's going to be this question mark of, can we actually get the defense going as Rogue? We're finally going to get this question asked. That Neural Parasite is coming through, +3 Carapace and missiles. Going to power up on the ground. That's a lot of Spore Crawlers. I do not think that that's a fight. I mean, that's just kind of an intercept donation. I mean, it's only minerals, but hey, eventually minerals might come to matter as we do get this gold base set up. I thought that might have been base 5. I was obviously very wrong. He went top side of the map heavily initially instead. As the feelings on the counter-attack are actually going to get the Cyber Core. The Archon's on the way. Can they get there in time? It's very close. We are just not going to finish that Cyber Core off. We're going to build a battery with, I assume, the intention of trying to heal this up straight away so that it just doesn't get sniped by a few extra lings. That was very close. Obviously, denying the upgrade would have been a fairly decent deal as we grab was that an Oracle and an Observer mid-map? I think it was the Observer. Storm goes down. Crypto's just going to get chased about a little. Tempest, Carriers, Archon, High Templars will at least continue to move about. Just going to be heading back down to the center a little bit. And Nexus sets up bottom right-hand side. We do see these Vipers, Corruptors, and Overseers all moving back as well. Obviously, this is still a terrifying air army, but this is where you expect these Vipers to become very valuable with their Abducts. However, we lose a Viper there. The Tempest shot's able to finish it off. And, yeah, I mean, obviously only one Abduct went off. The feedbacks are pretty good at the start of that as well. Now, we do also have the Infestors. We actually need to be able to start fighting soon. We lose a couple Infestors. The Interceptors get to work on those immediately. Good target firing from Classic. Wasted no time there. Now we'll pick up some scores from the low ground. Of course, Classic really has stretched out to every single base that he has available on this map. Rogue very much still trying to do the same as he is going to finish up in the top left. Boom, boom, bang. It's an Overseer that pulls as Classic wants to still move around this bottom side. We have a couple more shots coming out. The Tempest still flying away. Storm looking to land onto these Corruptors. Corruptors taking a couple of storms thus far. Obviously the Carriers and the Archons really looking to just push back still. As now these Tempests will move forwards. Another cheeky little Revelation going down. Now we've got again the Corruptors, the Overseers trying to figure this out. The Storm lands onto a Queen. Another couple of Creep Tumors being knocked away at. The rocks will fall. The Tempest about halfway done. The few additional cannons continue to come up as well. Still tectonic destabilizers. Building on the Fleet Peak and the Lings. Want to try and move through the Zealot as we are going to be seeing a little cheeky Abduct or two, and we finally get ourselves that Mothership, so get rid of that. Tell you what, Rogue's bank, absolutely huge. The bank of Classic, not quite as large. Obviously you can see here it's just, I mean, he's got the same amount of gas, he has less minerals. That means Rogue can probably build a lot more static defense still. Rogue going to add that Greater Spire, so he has a use for the Corruptors beyond the kind of, air army, just in case this air army gets cleaned out and you have Corruptors left over. just beyond also being able to caustic spray, it is nice to say, hey, look, I have, a way to utilize these. And sometimes broods are just good to have a few of in the army anyways, right? Being able to kind of siege up some of those units from afar as changelings are pushing against the mortal in the frontier. Yeah, being able to chase the, chase off the Grand Army from afar. You zone the High Templar in a big way as it's nice to abduct. The High Templar was looking for the storm, didn't find it. Changeling tries to block the High Templar from escaping lurker fire, but not good enough as we continue to duel out in the middle of the map. Another Tempest coming forwards, and still we're just hunting for those abducts. This is the dance that you play in the later game ZvP. This is why you expect Rogue to be a little bit less practiced as of late. You expect him to be a bit rustier on this control. He's going to get feedback to Bunch one more time, but he does go in and he does find himself one more abduct. Kills off a Tempest in the process. It's slow going, but it is some kind of going at the very least. The trades are there. It's not a complete whitewash in terms of what's going on. Mortal just hanging around as well. We're just going to be seeing those three changing, still chilling out in the center. Going to knock down one more Spore Crawler out over on the left side. These couple Queens trying to chase through. They're going to get knocked down as well. So they get kind of deleted. Templars, carriers still continue to gather, and we do have ourselves the Viper coming up as well here from Rogues. Just going to drop that in. We got ourselves the Baneling Speed coming up, plus 3 Flyer Carapace coming through as well. Plus 2 Air Armor coming up on the Cyber Core, as now a few Zults just going to go around. Just going to pick away at this hatchery on the left side. Look, fire through. That's an assimilator that gets picked away at. And so just seeing a few probes nibbling at the Spore Crawler over here as well. So gonna finish this up. A few Lings gonna get there. Those probes will all drop. There's other that gets cleaned out. Lings, Corruptors, all on the way. A few more Stargates coming through. Plus 3 air shields and plus 3 air armor and shields on the way. Because I said air shields, I confused myself. I said I put both the upgrades into one. We do have another abduct, couple of carriers, actually this time triple carrier. We're just going to have the Corruptors to finish those off. There's another abduct, all these carriers going down. Trying to microbial shroud on the ground. We got a couple fungals off as well. That trailing carrier gets saved by the storm zoning away the Corruptors, so no go on that one. Oh. Classic returns back up that right side. The Corruptors, the Vipers all moving back themselves through the middle of the map here. You got a few more infestors coming up, 11 drones, multiple spores. Like I said, Rogue had that higher mineral bank to use. No base here yet. It has been here, but it's been denied, and that's a big deal because this is the base that Classic currently has that Rogue does not. And that's what this could come down to a bit deeper in the game, right? Where you're kind of looking at this situation and kind of seeing it's maybe a little bit too late to go after this Cyber Core now. The upgrades are pretty much all done. I guess it obviously still provides access to the base, though. But yeah, we're going to be seeing this stage where if we truly mine out this map, this is a base that Rogue at some point still needs to protect. It might just be that he goes to that side of the map once he's mined out over here. He just refocuses to the top left and then plays from that kind of direction in general instead of just trying to defend top left and bottom right at the same time. Because you're playing with not the fastest of armies, right? The Lurkers have to unsiege and relocate. The Corruptors have to fly across. Yeah, there's not the kind of super slowness of Broods, but there is the possibility of that as well. So, again, I think just maybe going to focus on this bottom right, then go to that top left later. As long as he has creep there and he knows his opponent is not mining that location, I think he's kind of fine with it. Well, Classic has a hell of a bank right now. He has had more workers for a while. That does mean that Rogue's had a stronger army at any certain point in time. Is going to get a cheeky little abduct there, but I don't think that's good enough for the Oracle, who's just out of position. And the Tempest, the Vipers had to go running from those Tempests, but not good enough. One Viper falls. Yeah, Classic just having more workers means the bank is building faster, but, like mentioned, Stormdrop comes in. As mentioned, the worker count is less from Rogue, and so he has a larger army at any point in time, which is necessary to create some of the fights that you need to take right now as Rogue. If you don't have enough army supply, fighting against this Protoss air army can be extremely difficult to do, so this is kind of a necessary evil. He'd be mining out much slower, but he does, for the moment at least, have that higher army supply to help him trade. We move back to the middle. It's going to be Revelation time. We knock down a whole bunch of creep to start us off. Of course, the group's been held pretty decently on this game. It's been just in the center pretty much throughout. But giving away some probes right now as well. And just want to get rid of these classics, also kind of feeling like, okay, maybe I could do with a little bit more army supply at any point in time. Just responding to what you've seen from his opponent. Let's go, Linda Zaba Garden. How you doing? Thank you so much for the 33-month resub. Love from Germany. Thank you so much. Dankeschön. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. As we have ourselves +2 million coming up. Have ourselves the other ship about to complete. And this army of classics still moving through into the center. Oh, it's that storm drop bottom left that finds a few drones again. So Drogue is dropping to a dangerously low work count, 31 only. Oh, whoa, that's a fungal and the High Templar. They get second fungal, but also the Lurker got a bunch of them. The High Templars are gone, the Storms are gone. There's 2 Archons versus the world here. The Corruptors are just going to send it. The recall has to come down as Rogue capitalizes on the mistake. And now he's going to go hunting. Where did these units recall to? Down to the bottom. Well, the Corruptors are going to go on caustic spray. The Stargates, that's immediately where Rogue is going to. He wants to get rid of this tech, so that's the plan. And he is going to go for it. A bunch of these Stargates taking a lot of damage straight away. The air units are going to come across to help. Can we get rid of these Stargates in time? The Archons are here. Is it worth committing to? Rogue says yes. Gets rid of the Nexus as well. Now he flies out down via the south. These High Templar are brand new. They do not have energy yet, so we're going to get a bunch of Tempest in the process. And Classic is bleeding out in the skies. This is really why you want that Great Aspire, because now you can build Broods and give up some of these Corruptors, and they still have a use. Great initiative from Rogue. The moment he recognized that he had won that fight on the bottom side, well, basically the moment he realized the High Templar were gone, boom, he jumps, and he knew straight away, let's go hunting. He got rid of 2 Stargates here. He resets the carrier buildings, and that just takes a while for the carriers to now come back online. It's a massive win from Rogue. It's going to be a huge expense for Classic, who has money in the bank to spend, and will have to spend it to remax. He's not doing so because he's been limited on his production, so it's taken him a long time. Maybe even an open door for Rogue to make some progress during this time could be an opportunity for him. So something for him to look at here as a Prism from Classic will go moving out down to the bottom side of the map. Spore Crawlers will be firing as the Zealots just live to get through there. I was going to say, I don't think we've got any anti-air over here. The Corruptors are chasing that Prism, but it is heckin' speedy, with it being that upgraded speed Prism, so it is going to keep moving along at a fairly rapid pace. Spore Crawler gets a few shots off. We are so close to catching it, but should have cut the corner, bro. Should have cut the corner. These Queens could catch it. I think Rogue has given up, and Classic's going to get away with the Prism. Well, that whole chase down, if nothing else, has given Classic a little bit of time here. Because now Classic is actually going to have his units popping out before Rogue is able to kind of focus on taking another fight. So that's got to be seen as a pretty big deal. Look, is firing up. These cannons going to be healed by a super battery. It's a very enthralling fight. This bottom right base looks to be in trouble, as Classic is just nowhere nearby with the army. He could recall down here. So if he really needs to, he has a recall to relocate into this position, so that is a possibility. That's one thing we're looking at, but depends how much he wants to protect this base. If he recalls down here, he loses a lot of his mobility around the map. Recall is a resource. He is going to recall everything. The Lings are just going to commit, see if they can get some High Templar. I saw at least one going down. Going to pop the cloak in, but there's detection. We saw another High Templar going down over here. It was either detection from the Spore, or the mothership just didn't quite cover that space. Classic immediately starts moving back northward. I think he's terrified of an attack over here or just elsewhere that may punish him for having recalled. As Rogue systematically pushes his way in with the Lurkers, he's going to take away a couple of these cannons. He's going to get rid of some of these probes. I mean, this base is on the way down. Rogue's still yet to do anything over here. Classic has a probe just watching for it. There's the Prism getting back, low HP. It survived, and now it comes back to be a problem. Gets into this base. Hydra's pop, but again, the speed on that Prism is huge to keeping it alive. There's a Spore Crawler here, though, and that is going to be it. That is going to be the grab. That is going to be finally the denial, and that will be the end of that one as 4 more High Templars morph. The Lurkers just move through, going to finish off these last few probes. In theory, if you wanted to as Rogue, if you take out this base, maybe you could go elsewhere. Maybe you could take this base yourself for a while. There's, still 2k gas left on this location, so it's not a terrible idea. The Protoss army in the top left right now. Rogue actually caught a couple Tempests middle of the map as well, and yeah, he immediately takes this base. He says, I've got control of this right side, so let's make use of that control. So that's exactly what Rogue's plan becomes. Tempest coming through, the carriers on the way. The rest of this army from Classic still moving around on the top as the Archons, the High Templar, and all the rest of it continue to join together. Everything gets settled. I think Rogue is making some great progress, though. This base doesn't have much left on it, so not the end of the world for Classic to lose that, or no rush for Rogue to deny it. Still going to depend a lot on this fight, and what is a big difference now is that Classic has lost a lot more workers, so he is now much more even when it comes to army supplies. Makes this a more difficult fight for Rogue to take, because there's more support and just units in general for Classic, so that should be a bit of a problem. Classic is coming up to having 19,000 minerals in the bank, so he has got money for days. But the problem is, minerals can only do so much for you. I mean, static defense, zealots, these things are all manageable in the long term for Rogue. These are not things you necessarily have to super worry about in terms of, trading effectively against. It should just be something you can work on as these zealots try to make something happen here. They're going to realize it's not happening on this base. They'll go to the next one. That's completely undefended, so Rogue will have to find an answer to that. These probes are going to lead the charge up this ramp as Population goes down. The Tempest will fire from afar. The Corruptors can be looking for what they can do as the cloaking pops up. Just makes it a little bit more difficult to get that snipe off with the Abduct. Gonna drop the Fungal, and that's gonna be the move as we move forwards here, but we have every single Viper feedbacked immediately. And that is gonna be the end of that as we lose a Infestor as well. And again, this is becoming the problem for Rogue. We still have to fight against this big, good old Protoss army one final time. At the very, I say one final time, I say that mostly because I don't think you rebuild from this, right? I don't think there's going to be the chance to really rebuild from that at all as that Corruptors come through. Fungal there was good, hitting the High Templar, but the High Templar can obviously still storm. If you could chain that Fungal and kill the High Templar, then brilliant, but not quite the case just yet. As obviously, Rogue has to back it up for just a little bit. Now we're going to have this army re-engaging as Classic just has no real reason to back away. Look, it's still going down. Tempest is still firing. Spores are taking some hefty shots. We're not going to see another Infestor getting picked off. Yeah, Tempest will be shooting away. Lurker gets shot down. A couple of Spores are going to be there as well. Corruptors, Infestors all continuing through this army of Classic. Moves back over to the right-hand side. A few Hydras counterattack. They're just going to find a Nexus. I guess just getting rid of some real estate on the map. Corruptors got to be careful of those Archons. Can take a couple shots, but not too many. Intercepting some of the air units is obviously not a bad thing, so not bad to see that going down. As we get ourselves this army once again moving about here, we are going to have ourselves the Mothership cloaking up once more. A couple of Spores already under fire here. The Tempest getting some shots off. Lurkers will burrow. Archon Immortal pushed away. Pushing through the center is going to be a difficulty here for Classic. He can't really afford to just lose these units, but the Lurkers are going to keep them all at bay. Like they're all fairly short-range attacking units. The Lurkers really do a good job of continuing to zone, but that's what the Tempests do. They can fight from afar, knock down those Lurkers, and make room for the ground army to get in position. And that's the dance that we are dancing here. 31, 32 minutes on our side. The first round of action today in the ESL Open Cup career number 222. Rogue and Classic putting on a show. And Rogue is up 1-0, by the way. So Classic got to win this, then win another. If he wants to make round 2, Rogue for his first win in an Open Cup in a couple years. While the resources lost at 42,000 and 34,000. It's not that crazy. Rogue has been more efficient. This base up here still not mining. As I gotta imagine that Rogue, once he mines over here, again, that's a goal for him. As long as he's got creep there, he knows his opponent doesn't have it, so you're not seeing him have to focus his army up over there. Classic's never going to let that base come online easily, though, as Classic is out of mining pretty much. So unless Classic finds a new base, he only has a few scraps of minerals and gas to really mine from any longer. So, I mean, obviously he's still got a massive bank, so that is fine to some extent. If you move in there, we get a Tempest, but it did come at the cost of a pretty massive storm all across those Corruptors. The Viper comes through, Tempest still coming out. We have got the Corruptors there once again, looking to move around and just jump on something. So those Tempests that are able to find all these shots in Classic. Classic, who's on 13 probes, he just doesn't need that many more probes at this stage. And that does allow him to go to, heights of army that we've just not seen previously. So that's definitely a factor that's coming into play right now as these Archons smash through, the Spores go down. The upper left position definitely being punished as well. Oh, well, there are a couple of High Templars here. There will be Storms available. We're going to lose multiple reinforcing carriers. That last one just doesn't go down. We got to get out of there. Those Corruptors are hurting. They need a moment to break. This might be go time from Classic. Just go now before these Corruptors have too much of a chance to regenerate. Rogue also has to think about what the hell is he going to build. He's got 60 lava. I mean, he's kind of like, do I want to build more Corruptors? Is that my problem here? He actually only has 11 lurkers left on the map. He's found a fungal growth onto the High Templar. Do we have one more? No, we do not, but a couple High Templar fall. Finally, we find one. Feedback on a Viper again. Fungals are huge in this situation because gas is the limiting resource as well. So losing Infestors, losing High Templar, these are all big losses. We're going to see these lurkers relocating down, repositioning to the south as 4 more carriers continue into production. 10 more Corruptors coming out as well in this army of Rogue. I mean, Rogue has more gas banked still. Keep that in mind. In the end, he did choose Corruptors as the rebuild. I think this air army still has to be the priority. As long as he has some money, he can make some of these Corruptors into broods at some point as well. And Classic is genuinely running out of options, right? 2,000 gas only. He does not have anywhere to mine from unless he takes a new base. And that's obviously been a problem for him throughout this. We're going to Storm to effectively and quickly reduce those changeling numbers. But this one's not a bad thing either. We don't have endless High Templar. Every Storm is currently counting. 7k resources lost, favoring Rogue still. We just need this base. Classic knows it. He's going to make a play for it. And Classic might also just say, well, you know what? If I start mining this base, maybe that's just enough for me to kind of sit here and just kind of play this top left. You're not really set up there. A lot of your spores are bottom right. So maybe Classic can just slow it down instead of trying to just quickly fight in the, I'm not saying quickly fight in the middle, but instead of like forcing fights out in the center, maybe he just takes this location stack, defenses it up, and starts to mine that base that nobody has been able to touch thus far in the game. Lurkers will relocate slightly once again. 14 more lings coming up, of course, for Rogue. This is kind of a situation where if you can use a few, you know, mineral-based units here and there, it's great, you know. Utilize a few here and there right now instead of having to just have a mineral bank at the very end of this with nothing, you know, no way to really make those be effective. Your Hydrogen's going to show up, and like I said, there's not really much going on here, but we'll pick away at a couple bits and pieces, I guess. Battery is healing. Rogue's going to realize, obviously, hey, you're focusing on the top left. What if I make more of a play? What if I move aggressively up towards the upper right-hand side? I mean, this is going to get really intriguing because Classic's about to have a whole new base of gas to mine from, and that's a huge deal. It's rich Vespene as well, so this mines quickly, and that's a big factor. The fact that this mines quickly means that you don't have to hold this base for very long to get the gas you need out of it, so that's a big benefit. We still got 1,100 gas available here for Rogue. I think that's all the gas he has left to mine from. Everything else looks completely depleted. Time Warp goes down. Actually going to get a shot on a few of those Corruptors. The Corruptors do take a little chunk of damage there. More Corruptors coming up. The Mothership's still coming out from the Nexus. Corruptors returning some of this gas as they've been long distancing. Like I say, that really is such an important avenue. I mean, I want to say it feels like Rogue needs to do something about it, but then what does he do about it? Well, if Classic moves over here, you send some units there, perhaps. Classic starts to push where you could argue maybe he doesn't need to. These Lings are going to try and force the High Templar. We're going to lose a high energy High Templar. We're going to lose a second one as well. 2 High Templar with full energy go down. Classic didn't want to storm the Lings on top of his units, so the few Lings, the mineral units, find massive value. That is absolutely huge. Army comes back across, back into the center we go as Classic moves downwards. Just gonna pop the changeling off. Gonna see a nice little abduct. Beautiful. The thing is, as Classic moves away over here, why? He just doesn't want to protect this base anymore? I guess he could recall back to this base. That's maybe what he's thinking, so he's not that worried about it, but man, Lings over here right now for Rogue would be killer. I guess he just can't afford to have that many Lings in his army at any point in time. He needs to keep up everything else. Got a few Zealots gonna run around some bases. Classic is really benefiting from this. I mean, he's already mined 800 gas off it, so he's got 1,700 gas left. So he's going to have about 3,500 gas to build with here. Rogue has 4,300. These last few fights are going to be so darn important. The gas loss here is going to be really, really, really important to keep track of. Every Infestor, every High Templar. The Lurkers are going to realize they can get over here. However, how long do you stick around with the Lurkers? The army starts to move. The Lurkers realize it's time for them to go. They cleaned up some of the static defense. Infestors drop an initial fungal growth down. Lurkers are going to get burrowed. We're going to have a fungal going down as well. We're going to chase the Archons with the Lurkers. They say, let's go. Let's party with those fungals. We just get away as the cloaking helps. There was one Archon at the end there that just went down. It wasn't even the one shot at. It just walked into the spines. Lurker left here gets cleaned out, and Rogue initiating that fight. 4 new carriers begin to build, and that is Classic's gas count dropping immediately. Remember, again, he is at least mining some gas, though, as we look, we hunt. We do not have too many storms available currently. There's 1, 2 full energy High Templar, 1 High Templar about to have a storm. Few Banelings crash in on the upper side as we just not even sure what we're trying to achieve with that. Goodness. 39 minutes, coming up to 40 here on our side. It has been one hell of an opening game series of the day. First game from Rogue was actually a pretty wild one too. Good turnaround from him. Now 40 minutes here on Alcyone as we get a couple of abducts off. We have a second abduct on that carrier. We do. Mothership as well. Mothership's huge. It's way expensive to rebuild. And it's providing so much utility with the cloaking, the time warps. It's a pretty huge grab for Rogue. I like that a lot for him. I'd love to see, just a few Lings head to this upper left-hand side. They're fully upgraded. They can trade with cannons. The battery died. The Lurkers are going to reposition up again, get rid of some of these cannons. And then maybe then obviously the Lings will have an even better time. Although right now it's going to be a bigger fight because this Protoss army wants to move in. Microbial Shroud goes down. The Lurkers say, hey, we can get these High Templar because they are slow to run away. High Templar are dropping 1, 2, 3. Number 4 walks in. He dodges. The slowest dodge of all time from that High Templar as he sidesteps the Lurker spines, looking to grab him and kill him and ruin Classic's day. We are going to have pressure on this base. Classic still has 1,000 gas here, right? And we're talking about gas. It's a very important resource right now. Rogue didn't know what to do with the Lurkers. He's going to dive forward again. He wants to get the High Templar as he is going to go for it. I'm not sure what he's shooting at with those Lurkers. The Lurkers will go down. That's a problem. Suddenly you've just lost a lot of your presence in terms of being able to hold the position. Because the Lurkers were what we're holding off the ground army. Well, now we're going to start building some Ultras on the rebuild from Rogue. As he just needs to stop these Archons, I imagine. If he can stop these Archons, then that would be great for him. He finds a reinforcing carrier. That's a big deal, because now you get told that basically, hey, there's reinforcing carriers. Maybe I should go and hunt those down. There was a new mothership built by Classic. Rogue still has 2,000 gas. He's still mining a little bit of minerals over here as a Lurker and a few spines look to deal with this. Another Tempest falling down. Unit count right now, 5 Tempest, 16 carriers, 51 Corruptors. This mass ultra play, I wonder if it has a chance of catching Classic a little off guard. Like, Classic's just not ready for the fact so many ultras are about to build. The only thing we have to say is eventually, right? I mean, Classic could still warp in tons and tons of Zealots. You need a way to be able to deal with that to some extent. I guess if you, again, make a couple of broods, that could be a factor. This is getting to be a little bit wacky. Classic is truly about to be out of gas. He's got 600 left in mine. He's got 300 in the bank. Rogue has 1.6k gas remaining himself. The Ultras move up to the upper left. They're going to go for it. They're just going to dive on that army. I didn't love it. And the Mothership's there as well, so you can cloak too. And the Overseers are just not far enough forward to justify a play like that. Classic slowed down the mine on this base. Rogue slowed down the mine on this base, but Classic is still going to mine it out, at least gas-wise. Obviously a lot of minerals there, but I don't think either player is really concerned about the amount of minerals available. That's an attempted abduct because the High Templars are scared. The High Templars are being shot at so many times they're terrified to come through again. So finding the abduct there because the High Templar are hanging back is obviously a pretty big deal, so that helps. They'll just clean up the right-hand side. It's just there's not really... It's difficult for these soldiers to get involved on the map. It's an abduct on the Oracle. We feed back the Viper, though. How many Vipers remain? 2. Only 2. Maybe you could do it a couple more at this point as Rogue. I mean, you've on your final bit of gas. He's gonna research Burrow because he just killed the Oracle. There's gonna be less going on than expected. I mean, this is just really coming to a wild conclusion. We're gonna dive in. We're gonna Microbial Shroud, Fungal Growth as well, but we can't commit in with the Air Army until there's more of the splash damage dealt with. Here comes some of the storms on the Corruptors as Rogue is just fully sending it. The High Templar survived the dive on the ground. We continue to split. There's a couple of low HP Corruptors that are all clumped up, and they are going to evaporate. Rogue is dead. He is not good enough to win this fight. He dove. He believed. It was not good enough. GG. And we're going to go to game 3 here as Classic and Rogue tie 1-1. Classic winning this massive, massive game. Oof. Bottom right-hand side, the red Protoss player from Twisted Minds. Tying it 1-1 after 43 minutes. It is Classic. In the upper left, our Blue Zerg is Rogue. Like I said, do you feel as though Rogue took not the prettiest of fights at the end there? I think he was just like, he is like, I gotta go, I gotta make the play, and just kind of rushed the engagement in the end. I kind of liked, I think, what he was generally set up on. Just, yeah, kind of pulling the trigger a little bit too soon is a little bit rough. Make our way into game number 3. That's on the way. Got some pool coming down. Gateway is coming up. As our Nexus drops in on the other side. And we look to see where the builds for game 3 will take us. I mean, after a long game like that, you reset, you come back to the early game, but reality is early game PvZ, it's a lot of setting up. It's a lot of just getting ready. Getting the Nexus down, likely a Stargate from the Protoss side of things. A lot of that likely to come through here across the course of this. The Queens and the Feelings just continue to get settled, and again the Cybercore, the Nexus continue to come through. I see that Cybercore finishing up. The Adept will be chrono boosting. And again, just a Stargate on the way from Classic, so you continue to bring that in. As I continue to chase, the probe continues to be going away. Warp Gate's still coming up. Stargate's halfway done. A couple of probes come through. The Adept is coming about. I think speed is halfway through as well right now from Rogue. Hatchery's still coming up. The Queen is going to be settling in the center. Feelings gathering together. Got that link speed ticking along. Couple more Queens coming through here from Rogue as well. Phoenix and the Warp Gate continue to build. And this Overlord heading down to the south as we see this Adept continue to move about just for a little longer. This one Adept is going to go shading through towards the natural. A little bit of a look to see what's up. Ling is going to go in there chasing. The Adept shade is going to be cancelling. Again, a couple Queens, a couple Lings, and a few drones all coming about as well. Link continues to move over. We drop that third Nexus into place. And again, the Probe and the Adept continue to come through. A couple Queens, a few drones all coming in. We see the Queen still moving forwards. As the Lings will finish off that Probe on the right side. So again, a group of Lings continue to gather back together. While Spores continue through, the drones all building. Queen halfway done, our Lings will continue to jump onto this third base. Twilight Council is coming up here on the side of Classic. So yeah, that Twilight Council up and running. Couple more gateways coming about. Queens are going to be there. The Oracle's still taking some shots. The extra gateways are coming through. Will take a few shots at the Overlord, so damage to be done. Sporecrawler, well, one of them cancels up. The Oracle gets pushed back away. The Queens are going to be moving about as the Resonating Glaives gets chrono boosting as well. We'll just see our Phoenix moving out into the center here. Got those extra gates coming up. Roach Roan Lair coming online as well. And the extra drones are going to build as Overlord will continue to come about. Blink starts, Forge building, and Rotron Evo Chamber, Flare and drones. Bit of everything coming through. Obviously, this game, we're going to get to see that blink nice and early on as the oracles do get busy on the other side of the map. That's nice though, 5 drones. Yeah, 2 oracles in the Phoenix. The Phoenix going to clean out and over. We get into that blink. And that's going to be classic, just going to be able to show us some of this blink action. We'll see how aggressive he gets with it. That game 1 had some blink play where Rogue really struggled. He had a lack of creep spread. The Stalkers were able to push right on up towards his bases and just force trades repeatedly. And that was a big problem until Rogue survived to get the Lurkers out and Niduses. At that point, it obviously became a whole different story. The Stalkers pulled back out in the center. A couple Oracles still flying about. +1 missiles, Roach Speed coming through, the Hydra Den about to finish, a few more Overlords coming up. And that blink is not far from being done on the Twilight Council. Now +1 attack coming through on the Forge. And Templar Archive, Stalkers, etc. will continue to come about. Our Fuelings come back around for the moment as well. Let's continue to be on the move. Hydras, Roaches, +1 missiles, Groove Spines, and Roach Speed all building. Let's get chased to the upper right. So we've got these Oracles and these Stalkers now going to combine. This is where Class is going to start pushing a little bit. This is why I feel like Rogues definitely look the weakest in these games, right? These early stages, there's pressure, he takes some damage, the pressure starts coming through. Stalkers, Oracles continue to bottom left. Have you seen that Link Roach Ravage? Our Hydra continues to come through here. Is just going to be seeing our Stalkers continue to fight. The High Templars are here. They do not have a storm yet, so this timing from Rogue can be dangerous. Only 61 drones. Corrosive Vials on that super battery. He does target it down as well to finish it off. Storm still just not finished. Is a huge deal. Those High Templars are cited as wasted investment. 8 seconds to Storm. This really does change it around a little bit. We've already lost the high ground, so all of these probes are kind of abandoned up here. Now you've got the High Templars coming through, but now you can pre-split because the High Templars are attacking into the position rather than the Zerg attacking into the High Templars. It makes a big difference for how the Storm interaction will go. You see another Storm, and that will finish off a couple of Ravages, which is nice. But this base is a goner. 21 probes dead as well. So Rogue is going to knock down a base. He's going to take himself a whole bunch of probes to take a worker lead from this as well. This is one hell of a timing. And he's killed off all the High Templars, so now there's no reinforcing Storms at the moment. A few Stalkers warping on the left side, so they're going to get chased a little bit. It's really just Stalkers left. All the tech units are gone. Rogue is reinforced with a lot of Lings. He's got a few Roaches on the way as well. These Stalkers right now are actually pretty effective, though, at playing cleanup because the Lings went to chase, so they left these other units unprotected. That makes this a little bit of a better fight here from Classic. Rogue really needs the tech to come back online. When I say tech, I mean Roaches aren't like super tech heavy, but something that isn't Lings, something that has a bit of range on it, come back online to help out a little bit as well. So we get that going. Goes back up that high ground. Ling Roach just going to come through onto this set of rocks as well. Just get that going straight away. Couple Lings for the path. First Ravager starts coming up. Got those Roaches coming out as well. This army continues to move out into the center, so we continue to move downwards. The Nexus, we're going to cancel. As Classic just realizes he cannot hold against this. The Lings are going to come diving by. There's a couple pylons here that are going to start getting picked away at. Going to clean out this area a little bit. Extra Ravagers continue to morph in. go. First Storm, obviously going to try and help out. There's a lot less Ravagers here than before. Okay, there's the Ravagers. As the Storm's honestly pretty good, and we're coming up a ramp, so this is the difference of what I said about, you know, Storms when you're attacking into Storms versus the Storms are being used to kind of attack back into the position. Problem is, there's not enough support to really keep these High Templars alive, and they are going to be goners. I mean, they can't even morph into Archons. They're just running, hoping that this maybe gets slowed down enough that you get Archons up somewhere. And actually, maybe we do get those Archons up in the corner. There's Rogue. We'll get a few probes, but this is a hold from Classic. I mean, Rogue is still on this kind of similar tech, similar work accounts. He's obviously attacking into some of the static defense here, which isn't exactly helping him. He needs to get these Lings to focus up on something. We're going to run out of steam. We're going to have to back this up. A couple of battles will not do too much else. Classic making 2 Immortals at a time is helping, as the Queens are all here as well. But boy, could we really do with an Overlord to spread some creep. So I don't know if the Queens are really meant to all be here. Are they, as there's no Queens at home to keep injecting? I think Rose... Well, if he did want to bring them, he doesn't want them here anymore. That's for certain. It's going to be seen our Roach Ravager coming back up. Continue to gather in. We do see the few Stalkers are going to get aggressive. Hydra's coming through. Immortals and High Templars are building. We get this army coming back through the center once again. You know, more Zealots getting warped in, the High Templar coming through as well. 10 Hydra's coming about, and we are going to go picking off this set of rocks, so opening up the map a little bit. Still have not drone, just taking a time to kind of build up more of the tech units. This is good though for Classic, because he gets more tech units himself, more Mortals, more Storms, the Archons. This is all good for you. This is all very good for you as Roach Hydra Ravager comes back about, splitting a little bit. Couple of Mortals continue by. The Nexus drops into place from Classic on the 4th. And it's going to get blasted pretty quickly. Couple things getting knocked down. The Roaches and Ravagers on the right side getting moving. This is a good Storm on the left, and I don't think there's enough here from Rogue. I mean, he's trying to split this Protoss army up, but the split is really spot on. It's the right amount of units in each location, so we're making no progress. Rogue starts at base number 5, still only 60 drones in play from him at the moment. I just don't think these units are going to be able to fight here, and they're going to get punished by a Storm. Still just enough tech on this left-hand side, although we may be able to get an Archon or 2. Oh my god, that Archon! Surely we kill it. Yes, it does go down. I mean, you're fighting Immortals as well, and these Immortals are just chunking your Roaches. Rogue is making some better progress, and Classic did give up a little bit of space on the right. Another Storm, though. Reinforcements have wrapped around on the left-hand side, however, so this fight now is going Rogue's way on the left. On the right side, we have ourselves... Again, this Protoss army is holding on the right, but losing on the left again. That means we're going to be kept on 3 bases, and the supply from Classic is clearly not looking pretty. The quality of army is there. He just needs a bit more quantity to go along with that quality, is the realism of this situation right now. Let's see, Roach Hydra still coming over. A couple of these probes transferring are going to get picked off as well. Rogue is looking for a final fight or so. Again, it ain't going to be easily found. We're going to have to come in from a couple different angles. As you can see, he's trying to play this dance where, I mean, he has a pretty good surround. If there's a fight to take, this probably is it. The question will be, just does he have enough? An Immortal walking to reinforce is obviously not helping. That could have just stood on the natural and attacked. There is a Storm at least, but it's not enough. And Rogue will 2-1 Classic across a course of different games. GG's. Rogue gets it done here on site. Delta to take the victory.